Hello. So today I want to share with you a sequence that I found after cycling for 16 hours, which was about 250 kilometers up in the Welsh mountains. You can see my journey up here. And because of the massive pain in my knees, I've managed to figure out a way to alleviate the pain. And I realized straight away that the reason why we get pain in the joints is because of there's extreme numbness in the ligaments or in the tendons or in the muscles. So because of the pain in my knees, my Achilles was really swollen and completely numb, so I couldn't tap into my calves, I couldn't tap into my quads. And that is generated by really weak hip flexors and tight hamstrings, which then goes into your upper back and then goes all the way into your shoulders, into your neck, into your jaw. So it's all linked. So when we get pain in an extremity of the body, we kind of look at the opposite side to understand what's happening. So one thing that I really found useful was rubbing with a ball. So you can have a stone, you can have, if you have a crystal ball and you have one of those mallets, you can use that. Be creative. You can get socks, stuff them with other socks and become something similar to this. And basically you want something that is quite hard, but gives you a good pressure. So what we're going to do is place this under our foot. We're going to start massaging the foot, just the sole of the foot. And this is really nice because from here we start to tap into all our skeletal body. So start softly and gently and then become more thorough with the movement and pressing firmly. And this is, like I said, just a massage for yourself. You notice there's going to be parts where it might be crunchy, it might be soft, or even it might be really enjoyable and you want to stay here for longer. And then you go to the side, on the outside edge of the foot. Again, starting softly so you just get the balance, you get the positioning. And every time, become aware of what the other side of the body is doing. Are you bending the knee? Are you curving, leaning inwards? Or are you able to keep your hips square, facing forwards? Just become aware of how your body is moving in order to compensate for the movement in your feet. And then on the inside edge, applying a bit more pressure, making the movements a bit more vigorous. And I would say for the majority of the people, this is where you'll find the most pain. It's in the inside edge of our arch, and that's due to the lack of mobility that we get, due to the type of shoes that we wear that have insoles, implants, supports. All of this stuff is great, but if we overuse them, we end up not using what the supports, the muscles in our own ankles. And therefore they become dormant, they become numb, and that's where all the pain in the hips and the joints start to arise, because we're not using the proper support. And then we go into our mound, the top part of the foot. And here I try to grab the ball, trying to avoid letting it escape us. So you want to kind of clasp it with your toes. And this could be really enjoyable, or it could be not at all enjoyable. Again, notice what's happening in your shoulders, how your neck is positioning. Are you kind of straining your neck down to see, or is your neck relaxed, looking forward? Notice what your breath is doing. And then pressing harder. Bringing it back into your heel. Starting again, just slowly, and then slowly bringing it more and more pressure. And then bring the ball back to the center and give it a nice vigorous rub, trying to get all the parts. Oh, I think I just broke the ball. Great. all the parts of your body, of your arch. And then other side. So again, start very gently, just to get an idea of where your body is at, how the rest of the body is positioning itself. And then starting to give it a bit more stronger feedback by pressing harder. Also noticing how my right hip was leaning towards the right, whereas my left hip is going forward straight. So that means there's a lot more tightness in my right hip, and therefore I'm compensating by rolling my hips out in order to gain the same movement. So become aware of how your hips are moving. Then go on the outside edge. And then inside edge. And by now you might be accustomed to the movement, so you might want to apply a bit more pressure so you get better feedback. So the more pressure you apply in a conscious way, the more feedback you get. If you apply pressure straight away, you might miss the finesse, the delicacies, the subtleties in the sensation. But if you start slowly and build up the pressure, you become aware of the sensations that weren't there beforehand, and now they are. And therefore you can understand and gauge what to do. Bring it to the front part of the foot. That's a good analogy for everything in life. We tend to go to extremes straight away, and that's because we're numb. We are deprived of the sensations in between. It's like turning on the radio at max because we can't hear it. And we don't realize that we can start by bringing the volume up slowly. We don't have to have it off or at full loudness. So let's start softly, let's start gently so we can become accustomed to the sounds, and then bring it back to the heel. And then bring it back to the center and give it a nice vigorous rub, trying to get all the parts of your foot. Understanding how your hips are feeling, if there's gripping, if there's tension, if there's no sensation. How's your lower back feeling, how you're standing. Again, where are your shoulders, where's your neck, where's your head in relationship to the rest of the body. And then allowing this to go. Now you can use, for this other one, you can use pretty much anything. Now in the house I found this thing, it's not doing any advertising really, I just found this really funny. It's called Styro, No More Burned Food. Automatic pot stirrer, never been opened. So I'm going to use this as my next exercise. You can use a block, you can use a bolster. Actually, anything that is hard would be preferable. You can use your steps in the staircase. But here what we're going to do is raise the toes, drop the heels down. Press the heels away, press the thighs backwards, and then I'm going to extend the chest forward and slowly bring myself down into a flat back. And then here the hands are going to help us to press the support that we have and draw the collarbones back and send the spine forward. Bring the chin level and look forward. And then when you found that comfortable position, allow the head to relax, and in doing so, become aware of the tension that the neck has with our lower spine. So we're looking at the relationship between the extremities of the body, from the crown of our head all the way down to our sacrum. So when I allow the chin to come and tuck in towards my chest, become aware of how much is pulling in the lower back. And that's why when we have problems with lower back, we have cervical problems. So this is a really good relationship for us to work on. So I exhale, bring the chin in,
And take long, deep breaths. Become aware of how your breath sits in your throat, in your chest, and in your abdomen. And this is really nice to lengthen our ligaments and especially to release any tension in this area. So feel free to stay as long as you need, but I would recommend no more than 5 minutes. If not, your legs are going to go a bit jelly. You can bend the elbows if you have space. You can bend the elbows towards the sides of the body and use them to allow more space in your neck and therefore less tension in your breath. Exhaling to bring yourself back up. You can remove the block, come just into Uttanasana, forward fold. And then bend the knees until the chest is resting on the knees to come all the way up. And from here we're going to grab our right foot, bring it against our palm of the hand, and the right foot is going to push down. So the action is, this is the action with my right foot, and the right hand is doing this action. So we're going to have a counter action, or right foot pressing down, right hand pulling up. And that's going to create a nice stretch in my quads. I can have a little bend in my knee, in my left knee. If you wish, you can bring both hands behind you to open up the collarbones, to lift the spine. Bringing the knee to almost touch the other one, so the knees are parallel with each other. Bring the focus back to your breath, becoming aware of how the breath is sitting in your throat, in your chest, or in your abdomen. And you notice by staying in this pose that you might be able to tune in into your lower back and therefore in the motion of your hips. So you can drop the pelvis down and raise the top part of the body up and drop the shoulders. And all of this by pressing down the foot in your hand. Exhaling, you're going to release that motion. You can bring the leg into the body, the knee into the body, giving yourself a nice squeeze. Exhaling, bringing it to the side, and then down. Other side. So inhaling, left leg comes up. Being aware of all the actions that we just went through. So bringing the collarbones back, which allows more space in the upper part of the body for the spine to lift and be thread in between your shoulders, which allows more space in your lower back, and therefore for your pelvis to drop down, for your leg to be pulled further up, and therefore a better extension and release in your thighs. Where's your breath again? Find that connection, find that nice rhythm for yourself. And then exhaling, bring the knee directly into your chest, hugging the knee in, and exhaling, drawing the knee out towards the side and down. And then from here we're going to release into our hips. So we're going to bring the hands just behind us. We're going to do some motions, some circles with our hips. You might notice there's going to be some cracks or crunchies, like my right hip right now. And all the time, see if you can really engage into your toes. At the same time, see if you can draw the shoulder blades back and lift the spine up. Almost imagine as if you're trying to send the upper back part of your spine into your chest, and the chest moves forward and up. And that we do without trying to arch into our lower back. On the side. Noticing the difference between one part of the body and the other. And then removing any blocks, we're going to come to a forward fold, wide-legged forward fold. So make sure that the legs are quite far apart. You're going to bring the toes slightly further in, spread the toes and then press the big mound, press the outside edge, press the heel, press the inside edge over the foot, engage the thighs, send them back and roll the thighs back so your pelvis can come down and you can lift in your trunk. You're going to interlace the fingertips behind you like so, clasping into your palm, drawing the collarbones back, and therefore, as you know, the shoulders go back and the spine goes up. Inhale to lift, exhale to hinge and go forward. When you come to 90 degrees, allow the hands to lift all the way up and then to come down. Now here's something to be aware is not to do this. So the shoulders are not creeping and not compressing in our neck. The shoulders are lifting away, drawing the spine forward and allowing freedom in our neck. So inhaling and exhaling, we draw the hands further down towards the floor, always maintaining that nice extension in our neck. Allow the head to dangle and bring the hands always slightly forward with each inhalation and exhalation. Press the legs behind, roll the thighs behind you and send the pelvic up so you can send the spine down. Bring the focus back to your breath. Where's your breath? How does it sit in your throat, in your chest and in your abdomen? And then inhaling, you're going to use the hands to pull yourself up into flat back. Bring the hands behind on your hips. Slight bend in the knees to come all the way up. Bring the toes in together. We're going to use a prop here. I have a chair in this case, but again, you can use whatever you have at your disposal just to have a bit of a lift really. And the idea is very similar to Trikonasana, so in fact it's a variation of Trikonasana. So you're going to bring yourself in that stance, so the heel is in the instep of your foot. And the nice thing about having it lifted, we can really start digging without much effort in our upper part of the body, especially when there's a lot of stiffness, just in the inside edge of our thighs, which digs into our calf and also into our Achilles heels. And again, like I said, when we have knee problem, usually the Achilles is really weak, numb, or it's there's some damage, which is not fun. So here we're going to press into our thighs, roll the thighs back on both sides, lift the trunk, send the shoulders back, opening the collarbones, raise the arms up, and then exhaling, I'm going to lean to the side, allowing your right hand, I know you can't see it, but imagine if you could see it, the right hand is parallel with my left hand. So my right hand is pretty much here. And we're going to use the left hand onto our left shin to roll the chest. So we're rolling this part of the body towards the wall. And the right hand comes above the ear. The fingertips are extended towards the side of the body, towards the big toes. And here you should feel a nice stretch in this part of the body and in this part. Maybe I can bend and show you. So that's what I'm doing. And then to come out of the pose, you're going to turn the palm of the hand, of your right hand, which is facing the big toe, to face the ceiling. And then inhaling, you're going to raise the hand all the way up and behind you. And exhale, imagine as if you had a rope. So my hand is here now. You had a rope and you pull yourself up. And then we're going to change legs. Again, heel with the instep of the foot. Roll the thighs back. Inhale, raise the arms up. Exhale, hinge and tilt yourself towards the side. Allow the right hand to come onto your right shin. Extend the fingertips of your left hand over your ear towards the big toes. Bring your focus back to the breath if it's not there. How's your breath sitting in your throat? How is it sitting in your chest, in your abdomen? How's the connection with your left foot on the floor? How's the connection with your thighs? Your thighs all connected to your hip and rolling back to allow this side of the body to be nice and open. And then inhaling, drawing your left palm up towards the ceiling, bringing it all the way behind you. And then exhaling, you're going to imagine as if you're going to grab a rope and to pull yourself back up. Again, that's a really nice one to do when you have more time that you can spend. Then from here, we're going to bring the heel, so the toes, underneath, and we're going to sit onto our heels, making sure that the heels are not spreading outwards, but the heels are connected with our sit bones. We're going to bring the hands under the knees and lift the flesh from the knees up, so we have more length and there's less pulling. And this is really nice. So we started using a ball to open up our skeletal, I think that's the word, skeletal body, and also massaging different organs and different muscles in the body by tapping into our feet. And now we're stretching into our feet to release all the way up into our necks. From here, you're going to raise both hands forward, draw the shoulder blades back. Inhale, left hand goes up. Turn the palm so it faces the back of the room. Draw the right palm towards the side of the room and imagine as if you were swimming and you're pushing something behind you. And then you go all the way behind, bring the hand in between your shoulder blades. And then left hand comes to meet and grab your right hand. Now, if this is too much, you can always use a belt, or you can always grab fabric and have the same extension. So be creative with what you have. Now, if you can grab your hands, but you're noticing you're hunching and the shoulders coming forward and
the elbow is coming forward and the shoulder is kind of creeping in, then just bring yourself back down, grab some fabric and pull yourself up, and you'll have that nice extension. So the idea is for this part of the body to go in so we can have this nice open chest. You can soften your eyelids until they gently close, bringing your focus solely on your breath. And that's your point of focus. Releasing your lower jaw, allowing the tongue to soften by bringing it down from the roof of your palate, allowing the throat to open, and then exhaling, releasing, bringing yourself back down, almost as if you were doing a Tadasana action. So you draw the shoulder blades down, press into the fingertips as if you were trying to touch the floor, and therefore lift the spine up. Inhale, draw the hands forward again, so they're parallel with the body. And then you're going to inhale all the way the right hand up, draw the palm of that hand backwards, and then, hopefully you have space, you're going to turn the palm of your left hand to face the back of the wall, to face the side of the wall, and then you're going to swoop that palm all the way around behind the back, in between your shoulder blades, and then right hand is going to come down to meet your left hand. Maintain that drishti, that point of focus with your breath. Allowing the mind to be calm, to be soft. Allowing your ears to go quiet so you can amplify your internal senses. By sitting in this pose, you might notice a nice, gentle stretch or intense stretch according to how tight your shins are. Into your shins, maybe into your calves as well, and also into the toes of your feet. With each inhalation, we're going to draw the shoulder of the right arm up. And with each exhalation, we're going to draw the left shoulder down, and therefore both elbows go in contradictory directions. So the right elbow goes up and the left elbow goes down. And by playing with our extremes, we can find the balance in the middle. Exhaling, releasing. Bring the hands back down into that Tadasana action. And then coming out of the pose, coming into a tabletop to release the toes. You can tap them onto the floor to just bring them back up to life. And then coming back into the pose, but this time with the toes down, making sure that you are sitting onto your heels and the heels are not spreading towards the sides, which they have a tendency of doing. So if that's happening and you're struggling, you can always get a belt to tie them in and you should feel a bit more comfortable. Again, tuck the knees back up. If it's painful for your toes, for your heels, for your shins, get a blanket or some supports, some pillows. And then from here, we're going to raise the arms back up, bring the right arm over the left into Garudasana.
And then inhaling, we're going to raise the shoulders towards the ears. On the pause, we're going to draw the shoulder blades back. And on the exhale, we're going to draw the shoulder blades down towards our hips. Inhale. Pause. Exhale. Inhale to draw the shoulders up. Pause to draw the shoulder blades back. Exhale to draw the shoulder blades down. Inhale. Pause. Exhale. As you do this, make sure that you apply pressure with the hands. The more pressure you can apply with the hands, the more your collarbones can open. And therefore, the better extension you'll gain from this pose. A few more breaths. Releasing the bind and changing, so left arm over right, pressing the hands together to open those shoulders. And then inhaling, raising the shoulders up towards the ears, pausing to bring it back. Exhale to draw the shoulder blades down. Inhale to bring them up. Pause to bring them back. Exhale to send them down. Allow the eyes, the eyelids to gently soften until they close. To soften the forehead, to relax the jaw, to release the tongue from the roof of your palate. If the mouth opens, let that be so. If you feel the need to exhale from the mouth, allow that to happen. Listen to your body. A few more breaths here. Make sure that the head is standing nice and tall. And then release the hands. Bring them down into the Tadasana action. So you can press the fingertips against the floor and draw the collarbones up and behind you. To lift the chest, to release any tension in the lower back. So you can do this action with the hips without affecting too much your upper back. So you're just rolling your sit bones onto your heels, which A is a nice massage, and B, it allows to tune in to that side of the body. Just a few more breaths. So pressing the fingertips to lift the spine up, to draw the collarbones back. And therefore you can really start feeling the benefits of the movement of your hips, as there's more space for them to express themselves. And then allowing that practice to stop. Coming into a comfortable seated position. We're going to finish by just bringing the hands behind our head, opening the arms up, inhaling up. So this is a variation of cat and cow. So the shoulders are coming as far back as they can, and therefore they're drawing the elbows back. Exhale, draw the elbows in, tucking the chin towards the chin, tucking the chin towards the chest. So you can feel that nice pull all the way into the spine. Inhale to lift, drawing the elbows back, lifting the chin all the way up to the ceiling. Do this slowly. The slower you do it, the more connection you get with the rest of your muscles. Exhale. Draw the head down by pushing the hand against the head, drawing the elbows in to touch each other. Trying to maintain the spine as straight as you can. Then inhaling again. When you do these 2 more times. Exhaling. Inhaling. And now a last exhale. Exhale. Inhale to come up. Release the hands. That's the end of the sequence that I've found. Oh, actually no, there's one more. But this is mainly for the shoulders. So you're going to come to sitting with the knees full, so with the feet forward. The knees can either come to touch each other, or you can keep them parallel with your heels. And then you're going to draw the arms behind you. And here you're going to roll the shoulder blades back and start descending with the chest. So the idea is that you're not collapsing in, you're engaging your abdomens and you're kind of maintaining that nice straight spine and coming down. So imagine as if you're doing plank and you're descending down to touch the chest against the floor. You're maintaining that good connection, so you're kind of bringing the chest towards the back of the room, whereas the pelvis and the feet are going forward to the front of the room. So you should feel that nice extension happening. Yeah. And you should feel a good connection happening in your shoulder blades. So what's happening here is that you're really digging and releasing any tension in your shoulder blades. So if you're carrying a backpack, that's really nice. Or if you have a really tight back, sometimes it's better to start from the opposite side of the body before we can tap into and tune into the part of the body that actually hurts. So once the shoulders and upper back are released, then we can start working more thoroughly with our lower back. And therefore, once the lower back is released, we can work a lot more intensely with our ligaments and our joints. And then to come out, exhale, push the hands against the floor so we can straighten the arms to come up. And we can allow ourselves to come forward. This is really nice to release all the tension or the engagement that we had in the spine. And we're going to bring the shoulders almost over our knees. You can bring the hands underneath our feet and draw the shoulder blades back again so you can lift the chest and allow the head to come in between your knees, or you can just grab the shins, create a box where you can rest the head and stay here for a couple of minutes. If you like, you can always opt for child pose. And in child pose, you're just going to bring the toes together, the knees slightly further apart. You're going to walk yourself down, so then the chest is supported by the inside edge of my thighs, and I can allow the head to rest on the ground. The hands can be extended forward, or I can bring them back, however I feel on that day. So
I hope that was helpful, and that's a sequence that I found was really good to release the tension from my knees. Like I said, at times when there's intense pain or numbness or inflammation, it's better to stay away from the areas that are affected, and we can look at the symptoms that are causing that effect. And that was for me really tight lower back, numbness in my Achilles because they were weak, and therefore started to work with the shoulders to release the lower back to release the Achilles, and the Achilles to release the heels. So it's almost an inverted practice. Cool. Thank you so much for listening, and I wish you a good rest of your day.